just bringing up the graphic again, just so my audience understands. So with the top unbroken lines, the top two, what are they showing?
They are showing the general population of
Right.
males and females.
Right. So
And-
where there's been no intervention.
Yes.
Right.
So these people were followed for 30 years. And the study was looking at who survives for 30 years
Right.
after genital surgery.
Okay.
So they followed an equal number of people in the general population, but they're closely matched for age and sex, so you get a direct comparison.
Right.
And the two bottom lines, the two dotted lines, are the survival rates of male to female transgender people and female to male transgender people.
Right.
And they survive far less over the 30 years than the people on the two top lines, which are the general population.
So just keep it up there, Rami. So with those particular examples, that by the time they get to about 25 years after these surgeries have taken place, we end up basically seeing that there is a 25% reduction in the population of these transgender individuals. Is that what I'm reading?
No. What it's saying is that the suicide rate is so much higher for post-transition individuals.
Yes.
And the decreasing line shows fewer and fewer people surviving over 30 years.
Yes. Sorry, I mean reduction in the population of the trans people. So about 25% of them have a suicide attempt rate, basically. So 25% of them kill themselves, basically. Because I'm seeing it go from 0.1 to 0.75, basically.
Yes.
So
that's the proportion not surviving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we see so in that cohort of people, it ends up being over that about the 25-year mark. I'm seeing
30 years.
Around about 25 years into it, the males drop off to almost 0.75, meaning that 25 of the male individuals that did went through this trans surgery killed themselves. This isn't a suicide attempt rate.
No, this is completed suicide.
Yes. Right. And then it's about 26 years into this that the women reach a similar rate as well. And so, like, one of the arguments they then say is, well, great point, Diana, but however, that's because society doesn't yet accept them. This is a good thing for them to do the surgery, but the suicide rates, because society hasn't accepted them. What would you say as a result of that?
They talk about minority stress, and sure, there is such a thing as minority stress. So why would we place healthy developing children into a group that becomes known as a minority before they've even finished their social, emotional and physical development?
Right.
And what they're trying to tell us also is that being trans or having gender dysphoria and wanting to transition is not a mental health issue. They're just saying it's a normal variation of sexuality. And of course it isn't, because if you look at all the graphs and all the history of transgenderism, we have never seen the proportion of young people who are declaring themselves transgender. We've never seen that in any other time in history.
Interesting. You mentioned in that graphic that the suicide rate of teenagers at that age, trans that are identified as trans, basically the suicide rate is on par with their peers that are non-struggling.
Yes,
with this
exactly.
issue.
Yeah.
And that's what that graphic shows in the early parts. If you can bring that up, Rami, just briefly. That's what that graphic shows in the early parts. But as you check in on, in anywhere from 1 year on up to 30 years on, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster, yes.
I'm curious, why such a big drop-off after 10 years? it seems as though this is a huge increase in suicides.
Now, we can only speculate on that, but
Right.
from the research that I've done, there are a number of reasons for it. One is that genital transgender surgeries can be disastrous for physical health. What people don't realise, even today, that people suffer from terrible things. So, for example, if you go from female to male, you still have female reproductive organs. And because your body is being bombarded with testosterone, these women who now identify as men suffer excruciating pain from vaginal atrophy and uterine atrophy that will often necessitate a complete hysterectomy to relieve the pain in a young person who was otherwise perfectly healthy before their body was flooded with testosterone. Another thing that happens is that about 65% of them have incontinence. They develop incontinence, which they would not have otherwise developed. So that heightens the risk of infection. And so you're constantly a medical patient.
Yes.
You're constantly in pain. And I'm sorry to be very graphic, but in the male to female, if they have a penectomy, that means they have their male organ cut off and it's inverted to form a vagina, those people have to dilate every single day of their lives to keep that open because that skin was never meant to go there.
Sorry, when you say dilate, what do you mean? It has to...
They have to dilate the vaginal opening,
Right.
Otherwise it will close over.
It'll seal up.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And it's a very painful thing to do. And it's just imagine having to inflict that pain on yourself every day. So I think it's because their lives become intolerable, not just because of the physical pain, but also because of the social isolation. Because the dating pool is vastly reduced for transgender people. And also we know that they are at much higher risk of unemployment, homelessness, social isolation, and, abuse and attacks.
Yes.
So their life does not feel worth living.
Falls apart. And especially thanks to the government basically saying, I'm going to sever you from your parents. That's how this all starts. And then going into it, I mean, that's a terrible start. No, you don't have any roots anymore.
No.
And then on top of that, like, what relationships are you having after this, both romantically, but in terms of friendships, you're not exactly in the best state of mind.
No.
Because of these frustrations constantly. Thank you so much for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed this particular clip. If you want to support this show and keep the lights on and support everything we're doing at Turning Point Australia, please head to tpaust.com.au where we've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got maps. And if you don't want to buy any merch, that's perfectly fine. If you want to just buy maybe a cup of coffee a month, for as little as $4 a month, you can help us get a small, long black to actually support the show and actually keep things going. Thank you guys so much for your support. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later.